This is Joseph Waring reporting at the Asian Carriers Conference in Cebu. This morning, I'm joined by Nicholas Nikrouyan. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for BICS. Welcome, Nicholas.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
At the conference last night, there's a lot of talk about IPX. My first question is, how is IPX transforming the way carriers do their business?
I think one of the first thing it's going to do is, from a commercial model, is going to change the whole parameters in the way we are looking at our P&Ls and our balance sheets today, and in terms of how profitability of each product line is defined today the way it is, which is very much segmented by product and so forth. This IPX is going to create an environment where a lot of the retail operators today in the retail market and the local markets have seen with inception of quadruple play and so forth, where the bundling effect comes in, where people are going to look at one bundle of pricing from a pricing structure and various levels of service going through it. I think it's going to impact the way the fragmentation of the industry is today, because at the end of the day, IPX is an environment where multi-service carriers are going to be the ones who are going to come out at the end as winners, in my opinion, in terms of how the market is going to evolve within the next few years.
Who do you think will be the winners at the end of that transformation?
We discussed it last night as well during the session. I think it's going to be difficult for operators and carriers who are very much focused on one particular product line. I think players that are multi-play players and carriers that are not only in the voice domain or the data domain. I think carriers who have a global reach from a capacity perspective are going to really have an advantage. So basically, carriers that are either on their own or multi-service providers today, or through a partnership, as we discussed again yesterday evening, through a partnership can create that environment of multiple capillarity and multiple service providers. It is an environment where the bilateral relationships are going to change to a hubbing model, where it's going to be one-to-many relationships. So from that perspective, I think operators around the world are going to look for providers that can do this seamlessly, and not too many providers. Today you see a lot of operators, for example, being interconnected with hundreds, in some cases, of carriers around there in order to be able to manage their voice activities, their data activities, and their messaging and mobile data activities. I think is going to go into more of a consolidated view, in more of a consolidated version, and operators are going to want to deal with 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 maximum carriers that can, from a service level and to be able to provide the services in that aspect. So we will not see, I think we will not see as many carriers in 5 years' time as we do today. But I think it's going to be basically those who, again, either themselves through investments, organically or through inorganic activities, they can create an environment where there is one seamless product offering to the customer.
How can wholesale carriers help mobile and fixed operators improve their customer satisfaction and profitability in international roaming?
I think with the fact that more and more customers and more people are roaming around the world, mobile operators and fixed operators in general can make their operations a lot more effective and efficient in terms of how they provide services to the end user customers. We as BICS, as a carrier, invests a lot of money, time and energy in making sure that we provide the services so that the operators out there don't have to do the investment on their own. There is no longer the need of every operator out there doing individual investments to be able to serve their end user customers. The basic principle for any operator would be to provide the best service possible to the customers, which is seamless and with the right pricing structure. And carriers such as BICS can provide those type of services, whereas, as I mentioned again yesterday evening, I think our the back office of a lot of operators are the front office of what BICS does. And I think in that respect, by doing what I call smart partnerships, where again we invest in creating the products, we invest in making sure that the products work, and that the mobile operators and the fixed operators out there don't have to do the same investment on their own. I think those type of partnerships can create a lot of value for the end user customer at the end of the day. And the service that they get is also at the highest level. Because again, we are not competing in the same markets for the same retail customers. What we do is to provide any service that provides that capability to the operators in front to be able to provide those type of services to the customers and with the best and the highest level of quality.
Last night at the conference, there's a lot of talk about declining margins and what operators can do to mitigate that decline. At BICS, as a wholesale operators, what are you guys doing?
Partnerships, I think, is very important in that respect. Again, the fact that we all don't need, as I mentioned earlier, we all don't need to do the same level of investments and repeating and creating and inventing the wheel over and over again. There is no doubt that, especially in the voice domain, you see a declining margin. When you look at the retail operators in the local markets, with triple plays and quadruple plays and bundling effects, a lot of them you see that the voice is as a value-added solution and is given basically for free. And we see the same level of trend, and when we talk about IPX, for example, there is a lot of discussions as to how voice in that environment is going to be priced and monetized. The declining margins are going to continue. There is no ifs and buts about it. And the more competition there is, the more it's going to take place. There, we need to make sure that we move up the value chain. From our perspective, we continue to invest in developing new products that serve the mobile community. We believe that there is a tremendous amount of value in that. We tend to create a lot of services that add value on top of just the basic layer of voice, in terms of reporting, in terms of making sure that the operators understand the behavior of their customers, and any type of value-add services that we can put on it, and new product lines that we can come on top of what the industry has today, I think is going to be mitigating that decline. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be hard, and we discussed it again yesterday evening. It's very, very difficult to mitigate some of the declines that we see in the voice. But again, IPX is going to create that environment. There is a lot of thought process going through it. And another thing is that I think, again, basically, the more consolidation in the market takes place, that size effect, where there's going to be a few very, very large players out there, I think that should also mitigate to a certain extent the consolidation of the finances as well. So, but it's investments on new products, is being creative, and it's basically making sure that we respond to the customer's requirements and needs and provide services that they see value in using it, and therefore trying to monetize that at the end on the back end.
Thank you, Nicholas, for joining me this morning.
Thank you very much.